Yeah. Now, this is a very important question, whether you should self-manage, and you have to ask yourself the hard question. And I just like to ask anybody if you know what that hard question is, because this is one that you really have to decide. Okay, I can actually do this if it became a necessity, and that hard question is, can you evict grandma? If you have, it may not be your grandma, but it may be somebody else's grandmother, and if that's like a touching subject where you're like, hey man, I really don't want to have to force this person out. Maybe it's better to use a third party to actually handle it, because yeah, I mean, we're dealing with people, and I'm not saying that we enjoy evicting anybody. Really, it's not an enjoyable part of the job. But at the same time, when the rent's not being paid, and we have to actually enforce the rules of the lease, then it's just absolutely necessary to have the guts and the confidence to move forward with doing an eviction. And I've had multiple times in court where the people come, and in California you have to do a mediation before you actually go to see the judge, and it's just like, no, we're just gonna, I just want my day in court, I just want to move forward to go to the trial. But that's the thing is you have to face the people that you're evicting, and when you're deciding whether you want to self-manage, how knowledgeable are you about the business? So it's we have a lot of access to information now with the net, but it's really there's been a lot of changes in the California law, so you want to make sure that you're not on the wrong side of the law. And we're not attorneys. I am a real estate broker, but I would just say that that's a very important side of the business that you need to be knowledgeable in. And the other part of it is, do you have the time? A lot of our clients, they like, we have doctors and people that work in the medical industry, and they're focused on their careers, their jobs as doctors and their careers, and they just don't have the time to do what we do. That's why they delegate it to us, so that we could take care of their property management while they go deliver babies. And that type of business mindset is really important, because in this business, yes, owning real estate, they say, is passive, but it's really passive just for tax purposes. You still have to actively manage the property, whether it's us as a third party property manager, or yourself as an investor who owns assets, and you're managing it yourself. And if you do manage it yourself, are you able to create and follow the systems that are necessary to do it effectively? Because one of the main ways that investors are able to acquire flip properties is because they're dealing with burnt out property owners, and they get burnt out because they don't have systems in place to follow, and they've got abusive tenants that are like breaking the rules, and they don't have a way to enforce it because of the other things that we just discussed on this slide. And you know, staying up to date on the laws is the same thing as what I discussed earlier. But also, are you a handy person? Like, are you able to fix stuff, or do you have a database of contractors that you can contact and get them out either the same day or the next day to take care of issues? And of course, having a good tact when you're doing it is it's always very important, because as I said, when you have to go to court, or you have a upset tenant that's like, hey, I've got a ceiling leak, and it's getting whatever wet inside their apartment, you have to be extraordinarily sensitive to what it is that they're suffering, and also at the same time defend the property owner and say, okay, we're here to take care of it. Let us in. Let's go ahead and get it taken care of. And for me and Omar, we've been doing this a really long time, and yeah, I actually do enjoy doing this. I've had some tenants where it was like 5, 6 o'clock at night. I'm getting ready to leave. This is a project out here in Houston, and it's like our winters get colder than in Southern California, and we actually had a pipe freeze, and I stayed till 8 o'clock at night, just trying to figure out a way. Eventually got a blow dryer and was able to get the pipe warm enough that it freed up the water, and then I was able to restore the tenant's water. And it's one of those things where it's at the end of the day. I wanted to get home, but it was like the joy that I felt because I took care of this tenant. It was worth it. I truly did enjoy it. I felt good afterwards.
Uh, yeah, and you know what? Just to chime in on a few things on here, um, on this topic of being handy, doesn't we're not necessarily meaning like you're gonna do the maintenance or you're gonna do the repairing of the stuff or all that stuff, but where being handy helps you out is to make sure people aren't ripping you off. I was just talking to somebody in the staff today, it's like the plumbers, when you manage a certain amount of units, you have multiple vendors and stuff, and some people are, more affordable than others, and so you're kind of always kind of negotiating back and forth. But you just want to be careful about, getting ripped off by some of the service vendors. Um, seems to be more with the plumbers than some of the other guys, because it's just water issues are just uh, you have so many of them out there, but that's where being handy and knowing what it's going to take to handle a repair helps you out there. And yeah, definitely in California, there seems like every other month they're changing the laws on you, so you definitely got to stay on top of that kind of stuff. Um, but when Jeffrey was talking about if you can follow systems there. Um, I know some landlords out there that they're managing properties far away, and without a property manager. And that's because they've been able to put, good systems together where, if some maintenance issue happens, they have a local team out there that they can coordinate with and get the issue resolved. And so that's just one example of a system there, a maintenance system, but also having a system, to collect your rents, to handle the accounting and qualifying tenants and all that stuff. So that's what we're talking about there.